the other subtopic, which is the fundamental economic problem of a society. The fundamental economic problem of a society is scarcity of resources. So, scarcity of resources or limited resources is the fundamental economic problem of any society, and it gives rise to the basic economic problems, which are usually in form of questions. Number one is what to produce, which means number one basic economic problem is what to produce. Number two is for whom to produce. Number three is how to produce. Number four is efficient use of limited resources. So these basic economic problems, they occur because of limited resources. And limited resources is the fundamental economic problem of any society. Number one, what to produce is the basic economic problem. What to produce is the particular commodity that is produced by the economic agents. Who are the economic agents? Economic agents are individuals, firms, and governments that decide on allocation of scarce resources in a country. So the economic agents need to make research on a particular commodity that will be produced to satisfy human wants and to generate profit. Why would they go through all this stress of making research? Why would they make this decision? Is because of limited resources. If resources are in abundance, there will be no need to make any research onto the particular commodity that is to be produced, which means they'll produce anything. But because of limited resources, they have to decide on the particular commodity to be produced to satisfy human wants and to generate profit. Number two is for whom to produce. For whom to produce is talking about the target market in which production will be meant for. Economic agents will be forced to make decisions on the people that production will be meant for because resources are limited. They cannot produce anything for anybody. They need to determine their target market because resources are limited. Number three is how to produce. How to produce is talking about the method of production that will be adopted in production process. And the method of production are divided into two. We have the labor intensive method of production and we have the capital intensive method of production. Labor intensive method of production involve the use of human effort in production process or use of more human efforts in production process than machines, while capital intensive involve the use of more machine in production process than human effort. So the method of production that will be used will be determined by the economic agent because of limited resources. Then we have the efficient use of limited resources. Efficient use of limited resources involve the use of limited resources to satisfy human unlimited wants. And usage of limited resources to satisfy human unlimited wants involves allocation of scarce resources. And allocation of scarce resources is better done with the use of production possibility curve. So this will lead us to another subtopic, which has to do with production possibility curve, which can also be called PPC. So production possibility curve is a locus or point of various combinations of two commodities that a society can produce with limited resources and the level of technology available. So the possible combinations of two commodities that a society can produce with the limited resources available and the level of technology at the disposal of the society is said to be what? Production possibility curve. It can also be called production possibility frontier or production possibility boundary, which is PPB. It can also be called transformation curve. Let's take a look at how the curve looks. You can see that the curve is downward slope and it is concave to its origin. Let's take a look at the properties of production possibility curve. Production possibility curve has so many properties. So let's look at them one after the other. Number one, it involves two commodities only. Production possibility curve involves two commodities. As you can see, any graph has to do with two sides, y-axis and x-axis, which means we are considering two commodities. Number two, it is based on the concept of choice and opportunity cost, which means for every choice made on the PPC, it will bring about opportunity cost. Number three, it is based on the level of technology available in a society. So production possibility curve shows the level of technology that is available in a particular country or a society. Number four, any point on the PPC shows opportunity cost of producing two commodities. Please, this point is very, very vital. Any point on the PPC shows that you are either producing more of one commodity and producing less of the other, or producing less of one commodity and producing more of the other commodity. So this point number four of the properties of production possibility curve is very, very vital. Number five, any point on the PPC shows efficient usage or utilization of limited resources. So production made on the PPC, as you can see on the screen, shows that resources are fully utilized. So when production is made on the PPC, as you can see on the screen, it shows that resources are fully utilized, which means that all factors of production are fully compensated. And when that happens, there will be full employment and full production in such a society. Full employment is when over 95% of the labor force of the country are employed. So, and full production is the highest output produced with the lowest possible cost of input. This can only happen when production is done on the PPC. The next feature is that any point within the PPC shows that resources are underutilized. It shows inefficient usage of limited resources. As you can see on your screen, that the points X and point Y are within the PPC, and it shows that all factors of production are not fully compensated, which also means that there is an existence of idle resources in that society, and it will give rise to unemployment and underemployment. Unemployment is a situation where people are not involved in productive activities or earning real wage. And underemployment is a situation when a worker's potential is not fully utilized in production process. So unemployment and underemployment will occur when production is made within or inside the production possibility curve. The next feature is that points outside the PPC shows that production is not feasible, and the reason is that the resources are too limited to produce the two commodities. As you can see on your screen, point X and point Y, they are outside the PPC. It shows that production is unattainable or not attainable. So let's look at the next feature. An outward shift of the PPC indicates economic growth. And what are the reasons for an outward shift of the production possibility curve? The reasons are when there is increase in limited resources, when there's increase in innovation and invention used in production process, and when there's increase in level of technology, you will see that the production possibility curve of a society will shift to the right or outward. So one can also define economic growth as an outward shift in a country's production possibility curve. And the reasons are, as you can see on your screen. The next feature is a leftward or an inward shift in PPC, indicates economic recession. And what are the factors that can bring about a leftward or inward shift in PPC? When there is decrease in limited resources, when there's decrease in level of technology used in production process, when there's lack of innovation and invention in production of goods and services, all these will bring about a leftward and inward shift in production possibility curve. And this is economic recession to any society or country. The next one is a downward slope of PPC, indicates marginal rate of transformation. What is marginal rate of transformation, MRT? It is the rate at which units of a commodity is sacrificed in production process or given up in production process in order to produce more of the other commodity. As you can see on your screen, at point X, you can see that you are producing more of commodity A. At 4, you are producing less of commodity B. Then when you now move to point Y, you produce less of A and you produce more of B. So, which means that the slope of the production possibility curve for point X to point Y, the slope of production possibility curve from point X to point Y shows that there is marginal rate of substitution, which means you have to give up production of A to produce more of B. B. It brings about solution to basic economic problems.